Right then, are you comfortable? Your cup of tea has gone cold, has it? Typical. Mine too. Nothing stays at the proper temperature in this heat. Makes you think, though, about how things change and how we tell stories about why. They will show you the maps. Beautiful things, all swirling lines and camel silhouettes. The Silk Road, they say, with a dramatic flourish. Isaan, a forgotten crossroads of an ancient global trade. Makes for a lovely poster in the provincial airport, I suppose. Rubbish. Complete and utter romantic tosh. I will tell you what carved Isaan's fate. It was not some dusty, meandering caravan path from Zen. It was the cold, damp breath of the British Industrial Revolution fogging up a monocle somewhere in London, and the meticulous, greedy calculations of a French colonial officer in Saigon. That is the unvarnished truth. On top of that, it is about as comfortable as a wicker chair in the rainy season. Let me pause for a minute, my kettle is boiling. Ah, that is better. I made a fresh pot of tea. Now, pay attention. This video is about the Silk Road fairy tale and why it is a red herring. Imagine a silk merchant in the 19th century, an exhausted nobleman. He has trekked from the Taklamakan Desert in northwest China, finally reaching the Mekong. He looks at Isaan and promptly turns right to the Chao Phraya Basin or south to the Maritime Kingdoms. Why? Because Isaan, bless it, was a cul-de-sac, a magnificent, fertile, self-sufficient one, but a dead end for a transcontinental luxury goods. The geography, the Karat Plateau, those river systems funneled traditional power and trade southward towards Ayutthaya and the sea. The idea that Isaan was some bustling Silk Road hub is like claiming my local market in Warren Chamrat was a major stop for the Orient Express. It is geographically illiteracy with a dash of wishful dreaming. No, the real reshaping did not come from the camels, it came from steamships. By the 19th century, new empires were drawing their lines that matter. The British, with their clutches on Burma and Malaya and their insatiable mills. The French, carving out Indochina. They were not interested in overland trifles. They wanted efficiency, control. Therefore, they built a new circular system for Asia. Shipping lanes straight from Saigon and Bangkok to Liverpool and Marseille. They dredged rivers, built railways, not to connect communities, but to extract. And just like that, the economic gravity of the region lurched violently towards the coast. Isaan went from being a backwater to a strategic backwater, a hitherland with a new brutal purpose. Here is a grim re-engineering. Isaan was traditionally a place of jasmine rice, fish from the ponds, and herbs from the forest. A resilient, integrated system. The colonial economy needed none of that complexity. It needed commodities, raw, in bulk, and cheap. First it was the rice. Not for local consumption, oh no. To feed the labourers in the tin mines of the south and the rubber plantations, and to export. The British rice king, old what's his name in Bangkok, his tentacles reached up here. Then jute for sacks, later rubber. The land was coerced through taxes, through market forces sharper than a machete, into a monoculture. That vibrant, self-sufficient web was simplified into a single vulnerable strand, growing what they needed to sell at prices they set. It was a forced integration into a global game where Isaan was designed to lose. The value was not added here. It was added in the factories of Manchester and the trading houses of Singapore. Isaan become an open vein, its agricultural rhythm now ticking to the metronome of commodity exchanges thousands of miles away. Now, you can taste the legacy in your morning sticky rice today. This is not just old history, it is the blueprint. Why is Isaan the source of manual labour for Bangkok and the tourist bars of Phuket? Because the colonial economy dismantled local complexity and prevented industrial development. Why build a factory here when it is a supply zone? The rail lines they did build led south and east to ports, not to interconnect the region. Why the reliance on fluctuating global prices for cassava, rubber and rice? Because the economy was built on that dependency. They swapped a resilient ecosystem for a volatile spreadsheet. Besides, today, when they talk of progress and development for Isaan, listen carefully. Too often, it is about better ways to extract something else, more efficient logistics for the same crops and new markets for the same raw materials. It is painting the trim of the house whose foundations were laid for a different owner. It overlooks a foundational crime, the deliberate stifling of diversified, localized economic power. That's better, had a sip of tea. So, there you have it. The romantic Silk Road narrative. A comforting bedtime story, the colonial trade route reality, the uncomfortable diagnosis for a persistent condition. Isaan's story is not one of ancient cosmopolitanism. It is a masterclass in how distant powers can redraw a region's destiny with ledgers and shipping manifests, leaving echoes of extraction that ripple through centuries. It is less about silk and spices and more about sacks of rice and sheets of rubber shipped out on tides dictated by others. The truth is not always pretty. It is often grubby, inconvenient, and sitting there in plain sight like a stubborn stain on a nice linen suit. However, understanding it, this unvarnished, grumpy truth, is the only way to see the present clearly. To see that the challenges of 2026 are not accidents of geography or failures of character. They are the inheritance of a calculated historical design. Perhaps by acknowledging that design, there is a chance to finally draw a new blueprint. Now, if this has rattled your cage a bit, then that is good. Go on, smash that like button. It is the only form of polite agreement I will accept. Subscribe if you want more inconvenient truths delivered with a slice of skepticism. Not only that, but also more importantly, get into the comments. Tell me I am a cantankerous old fool, or tell me what other rosy narratives need a good, hard debunking. I will be there, probably complaining about the tea. Take care and goodbye.